Happy Vlogmas book friends! If you are looking for books that will keep you warm on those long winter days ahead of us, then this is the video for you. Today I'm sharing 6 cozy authors that are perfect for winter reading. And be sure to stay tuned till the end. I'm sharing 3 bonus books that I am hoping to get to in the winter months ahead. Hello, I'm Jen and welcome back to my holiday reading life. As I mentioned in the intro, today I am here to share some authors that I think make for perfect winter reading. And the things I'm looking for in the winter time are books that I can really immerse myself in. And that can mean a lot of different things. I have quite the variety to share with you today, from immersive novellas to a wonderful middle grade book that was made into a very famous movie, from epistolary novels to nonfiction books that read like novels. Get comfy and let us get into some winter authors I love. First up, I'm going to start with an author that I just read, and this trilogy of hers is phenomenal. I loved it, and if you are looking to immerse yourself in a world full of characters that you want to root for, and that has both an epic, sweeping family saga feel to it, along with a coming-of-age story, then these books are for you. And the author of these books is Michelle Cooper, and I am talking about the Montmaray Journals. And this is a trilogy of books. It starts with A Brief History of Montmaray. Our second book is The Fitzosbornes in Exile. And the third and final book is The Fitzosbornes at War. Please ignore these not very enticing covers. And this first book, which doesn't seem to go at all with the second 2 books. I wish they had maybe kept more with this style or just done something differently, but I wasn't involved in the marketing and designing of these books. However, don't judge a book by its cover. These books are fantastic. They are written in journal format, and we are following Sophie Fitzosborne. She is our main character. She is telling the story. It is her journals that we are reading. She is a princess from the fictional island kingdom of Montmaray. And this island kingdom is situated between England and France in the Bay of Biscay. It's a tiny little island, and the books start prior to World War II, and we follow the family. Sophie, she has a brother and a younger sister, and then they have a cousin, Veronica, their crazy uncle who is currently king, and they also live with a sort of housekeeper type woman in the castle on Montmaray. And we just get to know them in the first book. And then from there, we go on and follow them basically all the way through World War II. And then a little bit, we get to find out what happens to them afterward. I cannot sing the praises of this trilogy enough. It was completely immersive. I was swept away. I could not put any of these books down. I just kept wanting to pick them up and read, and I binge read the entire trilogy with my friends Melissa and Elizabeth, and this was a reread for Melissa, and Elizabeth and I are so glad that she talked these books up because she was not wrong. They are wonderful. I highly recommend them, and they would make for perfect wintertime reading. I mean, what is better than a family saga trilogy? This is quite a bit of pages to get you through the winter months ahead and those long, long days that are dark and cold. And especially if you live somewhere where it snows, these books would be perfect. They are also perfect for Epistolary January, which is coming up next month. Lots of reasons to pick these up. Again, I cannot praise them highly enough. Loved this series. Now we are going to move from a very large scope, sweeping, epic family saga style books to an author who writes very small, very quiet, very intimate books, and they are quite short. She is an author The best way I can describe her is that she can say so much with so few words, and that author is Claire Keegan. And I have both Small Things Like These and Foster here. I'll talk a little bit about both of them. I am actually currently in the middle of my third read of Small Things Like These. I read it twice the year it came out because I loved it so much. And now I am reading it again with my friends Jacqueline and Melissa. And it is so lovely to be back in this book. We follow Bill Furlong. He is a coal merchant in a small Irish town. I believe it's in the 1980s. And we follow him over the course of a few days leading up to Christmas. He is, I believe he's making a delivery to, there's a convent in the town that he lives in. And while he's there, he discovers something or someone. And this really alters the course of his life over a very short period of time. And Claire Keegan, like I said, she's so incredibly insightful and wise in her word choice. And I mean, this is a very slim little novella, and it only clocks in at, my edition has 116 pages. It's also quite small book, and you know, there aren't a ton of words on every page. So she tells such a rich story, again, in such a small volume, and I cannot praise her writing enough. I think she is one of the most brilliant writers writing today. And if you have never read her before, start with Small Things Like These, or you can start with the next book of hers I'm going to share, but either one of these would make a fantastic winter read. Small Things Like These, obviously set during the holiday season. But then if you were feeling like maybe you want to escape the cold and feel a little bit of warmth, then I would recommend picking up Foster. And Foster takes place in the summertime, also in Ireland. And we have a young girl who has been sent away. Her mother is about to give birth to maybe her 5th or 6th child. And so this young girl is sent to live on a farm with some relatives over the summer just to give her mom a little bit of a break from having to take care of so many kids when she is about to give birth. And we follow along with what happens to this young girl when she stays with this husband and wife. I think they are cousins or an aunt and uncle, distant, something like that. And again, she does so much with so little. This is a book I need to reread, and I'm hoping to reread in 2026. And there is one thing I will say. When I was reading this, I was a little bit worried that something dark and sinister was going to happen. That is not the case. That is not what Claire Keegan is doing in Foster. And even though there are maybe some challenges that the characters have gone through, are going through, overall, this is a story about family, about connection, about loving people and staying together. And it is just such a beautiful book. I can't recommend either of these books enough. Claire Keegan is a genius. And these two is her at the tippity top of her craft. Next up is an author who has written a very wide range of books, and she is probably most famous for a coming-of-age novel that she wrote, and also for a children's book that she wrote that became a very famous movie. And I am talking about Dodie Smith, who wrote, of course, I Capture the Castle and The 101 Dalmatians. And I think Dodie Smith makes for fantastic wintertime reading. I think both of these books, actually this is a bind up of The 101 Dalmatians and Starlight Barking, which is the sequel to The 101 Dalmatians. My first introduction to Dodie Smith was of course through I Capture the Castle. I love this book. My mom gifted this to me many years ago. I have read it and reread it, and I will reread it again. It is Such a lovely coming of age story. It is written as a diary, and if you're looking for, again, another book to read during Epistolary January, this would make a fantastic choice if you've never read it. In this, we follow Cassandra, and she is our protagonist, and she's 17, and there are some American young men who come to take over the estate. I can't remember if it's next door to her family's estate. Anyway, she and her elder sister Rose become sort of wrapped up in these young men who come to stay, and we just follow Cassandra and the family and what happens over the course of several months, close to a year. I can't remember exactly now, and we follow her over the course of, I believe, about a 6-month period, and it's just charming. It is witty. It is such a wonderful and perfect example of the coming of age novel. It doesn't get much better than this. It's a fantastic book. If you've never read it, definitely pick it up. Or if you are looking for something to reread this winter, I highly recommend I Capture the Castle. And then I didn't even realize until only a few years ago that Dodie Smith was also the author of The 101 Dalmatians. Yes, upon which the Disney animated movie and subsequent live action movies have been based. And this book was so much fun. I read it a few years ago and absolutely loved it. And it is very charming. It is perfect for this time of year, spending time with those adorable pups and, of course, Cruella de Vil. And yes, I definitely recommend Dodie Smith. I think she makes for wonderfully immersive. I'm going to keep saying immersive because that is what I want in the winter months, is a book I can just completely escape into and forget about how cold and dreary it is outside and just get lost in a different world. And I think Dodie Smith does that wonderfully. I actually have another book by her that's been sitting on my shelf for quite a while now. Oh gosh, looks like over 5 years. And that is A Tale of Two Families. And I think this might be a perfect book to read in the transition from winter until spring. And so I might consider doing that finally in 2026. Get this off of my TBR shelf after 6 years. Has anyone read this one by Dodie Smith? We're following two sisters, one of whom thinks her husband is maybe having some dalliances in the city, so she decides to up and move the family to the country. She convinces her sister to come with her, and we're going to follow along and see what happens. So yes, this might be a wonderful transitional book from winter into spring when I'm ready for thinking and dreaming about warmer weather. Now we're going to move on to some nonfiction books, but these are nonfiction books that I think read almost like novels. And the first step are two very bookish memoirs by an author who writes mysteries, writes some kind of sort of scary gothic kind of stories, but her bookish memoirs are among my very favorites. And that is Susan Hill is the author of Howard's End is on the Landing and Jacob's Room is Full of Books. Now, I will have to say that I prefer Howard's End is on the Landing. I think it is the best of the two books, but I definitely think both are worth reading. And Susan just talks all about books, about her reading life, about writing, just immerses you in her thoughts and feelings and thinkings and ponderings and musings about books and authors, and they're so delightful. If you are a bookish person and you like books about books, these are the books for you. And I think they make for perfect winter reading, especially Howard's End is on the Landing, which follows a year of Susan Hill's life. And it says a year of reading from home, but she really kind of just jumps all around. She talks about all kinds of books that she stumbles upon in her home. Obviously, she has Howard's End sitting on the landing of her stairs. And so she'll just kind of go into these musings. So it's not like a chronological memoir of her reading year. It's just sort of all of her thoughts and meanderings about books over the course of a year. And it is just wonderful. And I really need to read her fiction because I have not read any of Susan Hill's fiction. So if you have, please let me know where I should start. What would be a good book for me to pick up and read from Susan Hill's fiction selections? So yes, but if you want a nonfiction pick, then I definitely recommend these two by Susan Hill. Next up is an author who has written 2 books about 2 of my favorite authors, and that has made her one of my favorite authors now because I think she has written so wonderfully about both of these people. And the author I'm referring to is Lucy Worsley, and the book I have here is Jane Austen at Home. This was my first introduction to Lucy Worsley's writing. I have watched some of her documentaries and different programs that she's done about different historical figures. Love her. I think she's fascinating, and she really just does interesting perspectives on historical figures and historical time periods, and I really enjoy that. But Jane Austen at Home, we read last year during Jane Austen January, and it was so lovely. This was just an optional read, so a few of us read it together and discussed it, and it added so much to my reread of Persuasion, just reading about Jane Austen, about her life, and about how the places that she lived, how that affected her and affected her writing life as well. Really incredibly well done. If you want to learn more about Jane Austen, I cannot recommend this book enough. It was fantastic. And then this year I also read Agatha Christie, A Very Elusive Woman by Lucy Worsley. And you know how much I love Agatha Christie. I thought this biography of hers was fantastic. I actually listened to the audiobook, though I'm thinking now that I really do want to have a copy of it to have on my shelves so that I could read it in print again. I thought it was really wonderful. She does actually delve into Agatha Christie's missing days. Agatha Christie went missing, if you don't know, when she was in her 20s, and it was like huge news at the time. And then she turned up and she purported not to know where she'd been or what had happened to her. But Lucy Worsley surmises what actually might have happened, and I think she might be pretty spot on. So that was really interesting to read, as it was just to read about Agatha Christie in general. I have read quite a few nonfiction books about Agatha Christie, including her own autobiography, and I think Lucy Worsley's book is an excellent companion to that. So if you're considering reading Agatha Christie's autobiography, I'd recommend reading Lucy Worsley's biography as well. I think it would be an interesting companion read. But yes, Lucy Worsley, I am a huge new fan of hers. Tell me what else by her I should read if you've read anything other than these 2. But I definitely recommend these for winter reading. I think just getting kind of swept away. I just think spending time with either Jane Austen or Agatha Christie in the winter months just sounds like perfection. And then my final nonfiction pick for you is, of course, the author who I have spent the last 5 years reading his books in the week after Christmas, before New Year's. And of course, he is just the king of cozy. If someone like Rosamund Pilcher is the queen of cozy, then he is the king of cozy, and that is James Herriot. I love his All Creatures Great and Small series, but really any of his books make for fantastic reading any time of year, but I particularly like to read them in the winter months. I just love reading about the English countryside during the winter time. I don't know, just being swept away to Yorkshire. Yes, that's what I want to have happen. That's where I want to spend my winter. And this year I'm going to be spending it in the wonderful world of James Herriot. This is going to be my end of December read this year, and I cannot wait to get into these stories and just spend time with James and all of the other characters in his world. I am so much looking forward to this. He has so many wonderful books. He has children's books. He has collections of books. He has one about cats. He has another one just about dog stories. I cannot recommend him enough, and I think he just makes for perfect winter escapist reading. And while his books traverse all of the seasons, I think sometimes that's nice in the winter time to be reminded that the seasons change. Warm weather is coming. It's it'll be here before you know it. And James Herriot is the perfect author to spend time with while you're waiting for those days to lengthen and for that temperature gauge to go up. Or if you're in the Southern Hemisphere, perfect reading for you while you are in your summer months at this time of year as well. I think he makes for perfect reading any time of year. Those are all the authors that I recommend for winter reading. I mean, I could have spent hours telling you all about all of the different authors I think make for wonderful wintertime reading. I decided not to include my favorites like Rosamund Pilcher, Marcia Willett, D.E. Stevenson, mostly because I talk about all those ladies so much. I know you all love and enjoy them, or if you don't, you should definitely give them a read. I talk about them in a lot of my videos, but I wanted to share some authors that maybe I haven't talked about as much or at all on my channel, so to give you some other options for winter reading. And as for myself, when I was looking through my book stacks and pulling off books to share with all of you, I came across a few books that I am really hoping to get to in the winter months this year. Let's see if that can happen. Even if I just got to one of these, that would feel very satisfying. First up is a book that I have been meaning to read. It is the second book in a series, and I read the first book in the series a few years ago now and never went on with the series. And I really, really want to continue on with it. And that is the Poldark series by Winston Graham. The second book is Demelza. And I just think wintertime is the perfect book to read these very long, kind of epic sweeping type stories, right? We're going to follow Poldark and Poldark's family over the course of a long period of time. This is quite a lengthy series. I'm not sure how many books are in it in total. At least 12, I think. So I have a long way to go. I need to get reading. Demelza is up next. This is very, very high on my want to read for the winter months. Hopefully I will get to it. Then there is also the first book in another series that is so long. There are so many books in this series, and this author has written a number of series. She's so prolific. I don't know how she does it, but I really want to start this particular series by her. And the first book is The Founding. This is by Cynthia Harrod Eagles, and this is the first book in the Moreland Dynasty series, of which I'm not sure, you guys. I think there might be something like 20 some odd books in the Moreland Dynasty series. It is very, very long. I've heard wonderful things about it. I really, really want to start it, and clearly I enjoy a good family saga, epic sweeping story in the winter months. This sounds perfect, and I would really, really love to get to this in the next few months, so we'll see. I don't know. Could I do this and Demelza? I'm not sure. Might have to give it the old college try, however. Also, if you've read both of those, let me know if you think I should prioritize one over the other. And then my third and final book that I want to get to in the upcoming winter months is, again, the start of a series. And, well, is it a series? It is a series, but it's kind of a unique format for a series, so I'll talk about that in a minute. But the book I'm referring to is Old Filth by Jane Gardam. And this follows Old Filth. Is he a solicitor or a barrister? Oh no, he's a judge. He's a judge, and the term Old Filth is an acronym for Failed in London, Try Hong Kong. And that's the nickname of Sir Edward Feathers, and we are following along and learning about him. I'm not sure exactly. I've heard wonderful things about this book. So there are 3 books in the Old Filth trilogy, and my understanding is that each book tells basically the same story from a different character's perspective. So Old Filth is from Sir Edward's perspective. I think the next book is from his wife's perspective. And the third book is from another man's perspective. I'm not sure who he is because I think I need to read this book to find out. But yes, I have had these books on my shelf. I have all 3 of the books in the trilogy. I've had all these books on my shelf for over 2 years now, and I really would like to at least read Old Filth this winter. We'll see if I get to it. I have read Jane Gardam before and very much enjoyed her writing, and I'm really intrigued to read more. I have the Old Filth trilogy, plus I have her standalone novel called Crusoe's Daughter. And yes, I definitely want to read more by her, but Old Filth is my pick to read next by her. And that will wrap up the authors I think make for perfect winter reading. Let us chat down in the comments below. I would love to know what you think of some of these authors that I recommended, and I would love to know what are some authors that you gravitate towards in the winter months, or what types of books do you gravitate towards in the winter months? Let us share all about winter authors and winter reading down in the comments below. And if you're here but you don't have anything you'd like to add, but you'd like to let me know that you're here, why don't you leave, of course, a cold wintry emoji down in the comments. I love seeing those and knowing you were here, and they really do help my channel. And if you could hit that like button and or that hype button, which also helps my channel, I would love that as well. And if you're enjoying all of my Vlogmas content, if you can hit that subscribe button, turn on your notifications so you don't miss a thing. I have a video going up every weekday this month until December 24th. And then after Christmas, I will return to my regular Tuesday and Friday posting. And I would love to have you join my cozy bookish community. And thank you all for being here and for taking time out of your busy holiday schedules to watch my Vlogmas content and to leave such lovely comments saying how much you're enjoying it. I really, really do appreciate it. And I'm so, so glad this is bringing joy to your holiday season. And I'll be back with another video tomorrow. And until then, happy holidays and happy reading. Bye.